Crowe Connect is a knowledge-driven podcast initiated by the Crowe UAE. It is designed to empower professionals and business leaders with insights into the evolving governance, risk and compliance landscape. Through engaging conversations with seasoned industry experts, the podcast will explore key regulatory updates and compliance requirements, real-world industry experience, and operational challenges will be discussed. Strategic perspectives on risk, governance, and market trends. These episodes, will be available on Crowe's LinkedIn page, social media handles, and Crowe's website.
Sanjay Singh, former Head of Compliance and Anti-Money Laundering, Ansari Exchange. Sanjay Singh is former Head of Compliance and Anti-Money Laundering of the top exchange house in UAE, Ansari Exchange. Sanjay is a seasoned banking professional with over 38 years of experience. Sanjay's former appointments include senior positions in financial institutions like Ansari Exchange, Standard Chartered Bank, First Gulf Bank, First Abu Dhabi Bank, and Dunya Finance, where he led the retail banking, corporate and institutional banking, group audit, risk management and governance, and corporate credit risk management. Sanjay was also instrumental and a part of the core group of selected member to prepare for the process of delisting UAE from the FATF grey list as a private sector representative. Sanjay believes in leading by example, ensuring everyone is well positioned to meet the expectations of regulatory compliance and to go the extra miles to keep up with the pace of the ever-changing regulatory and business environment.
Welcome, Mr. Sanjay. Hearty welcome to this first edition of Crowe Connect.
Thank you very much, Pijush. Thank you for inviting me for this podcast. I'm really overwhelmed and I'm looking forward to exchange some of my insights in terms of the financial crime regime in the UAE.
Sanjay, we'd like to get some insights on the regulatory compliance situation in UAE. And so I will ask you a few questions and we would love to have your insights. Sanjay, what have been the changes in the financial crime regime over the last half a decade in the UAE and how significant those were?
Mr. Pijush, a very pertinent question. So, financial crime regime in the UAE has gone through 360-degree change. I would say evolution in the last half a decade, which included changes in the regulations, enhancement of the regulations and guidelines, leading to high degree of accountability of the individuals as well. As you know, that the regulation nowadays includes personal accountability and enforcement in terms of bringing to book not only compliance officer in case of any breach, but again the board and the owners of the exchange houses. So I would be speaking more from the exchange house perspective on this. Again, leading to high degree of accountability on individual exchange houses, including the board as well as down the line, which is more conspicuous through the national framework of anti-money laundering, countering of the terrorist financing, and countering of proliferation financing as well by the regulator, especially from 2020 onwards, which we saw the build-up of the financial intelligence and supervisory capabilities within the UAE. To add further, the journey since last half a decade has been very significant in many ways. First, there had been a complete shift in the financial crime paradigm to a zero-tolerance FCC reach primarily. The second part is there has been deeper, enrooted and remodeled regulations and guidelines which have been issued by the regulators. And this was coupled with very intense supervisory aspect from the regulators as well. The third was the multi-agency cooperation and coordination amongst private and public sector in the bid to fight the financial crime, which was obviously a very significant move wherein everybody was brought in within the same arena to fight financial crime. The fourth was, in fact, result of a very comprehensive financial crime study and reporting through the National Risk Assessment. As we all know, the report were issued to the intermediaries, which were accepted at primarily in the industry, and then everybody applied based on the outcome of those NRA results. The fifth part is advent of things like artificial intelligence in the financial crime compliance, which is a very important part to lead into the intelligence detections primarily of the financial crime aspect. Next one is basically the distinct punitive actions which the supervisory authorities have taken on many of the exchange houses because of the failure to recognize the importance of financial crime fight through the regulations and guidelines which have been provided. Last but not least, this period has also seen the successful delisting of the country, the UAE, from the FATF grey list, which was a great achievement by the country, by all, not only regulators, it included, as I said, private and public sector agencies, jurisdictions of UAE, of various kinds of intermediaries into that, be it exchange houses, be it DNF BPs, be it any other kinds of intermediaries within the country. They were all together participated into this, and then the country was delisted finally, which was a great effort, and the results were astounding, definitely.
Absolutely. The movement, the coming out of the grey list was an amazing journey. And I think it is an eye opener for the world. It was an amazing journey.
Yes. But just to add there, I mean, this is just a journey, as you very rightly said. It is not something which we have achieved. So this has to be there. The efforts need to be put in more and more into making it a financial crime-free country, bringing it up to the level of the expectation of FATF and other agencies. So this journey goes on. It
Yes,
continues.
I fully agree with you, Sanjay, that this is a journey, because if you don't keep up with your compliance effort, you can go back into the old status, right? So now I want to ask you a very important area. What are the important areas that financial institutions should focus on to comply with AML CFT laws and regulations, according to you, Sanjay?
There has been many. To start with, the changes in the regulations and guidelines, as I already mentioned, over the last few years have been phenomenal. And they have become more complex and deep-rooted. To start with, these need to be discussed with the regulators on a regular basis, and they have opened windows like outreach, various discussions with the compliance officers periodically, with selected LFIs. Hence, it is very pertinent to understand that what exactly are the directives, what are the expectations out of it, what are the length and breadth of those regulations primarily. This is not very difficult propositions because of the reason that the regulators have opened windows, for everybody to come in and clarify if at all they have any kinds of doubt, which has given immense support from the regulators through various kinds of dialogues with them, with the compliance officers and the rest of the authorities, within the LFIs. So very clearly, the accessibility to the regulators have opened up quite a bit, which was possibly not a case about 10 years back or maybe 15 years back. Again, to a larger extent, the success of compliance depends on the tone at the top, as we call it, all the time, which includes distinct responsibility and accountability of the board of directors or the owners of the LFIs. There is a need to set aside adequate capital, as per me, for the risk of financial crime compliance as well over a period of time, and those should be properly used and accounted for so that we can alienate the risk of financial crime in the organization. The money spent in the FCC should not be seen as an expenditure or as a cost, as many of the LFIs possibly take it. It should be seen as an investment, and this investment is very key investment in fighting financial crime in the country as well as globally. And hence, compliance investment should produce those results which any kind of investment produces. And what is that? It is primarily the notional profits which we are going to gain in the long run, okay, or maybe in the mid to long run, possibly. Now, how it is so? Because of the large number of enforcement by way of financial penalties and cancellations of licenses of many of the exchange houses we have seen, those can be kind of alienated fully from the process of fighting financial crime.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Sanjay, we hear a lot about the risk-based approach, and there are as many versions of risk-based approach as there are people, they say. So how can financial institutions leverage the risk-based approach?
Mr. Pijush, the risk-based approach have many dimensions for understanding. I mean, one of it is that the risk-based approach is primarily not to kind of avoid risk. Risk will be there anyways when you do a business, any kind of business for that matter. The requirement is to identify the risk, assess the risk, and undertake some kinds of steps so that we can reduce the risk to certain extent. So that is what risk-based approach is all about. In the money laundering and terrorist financing or maybe proliferation risk, which is very important that we identify those risks within our transactions primarily, understand it, we kind of put it in our policies, in our procedures, and also build in the system capabilities so that those are detected properly and those are kind of mitigated over a period of time. And hence, RBA is a very important tool given by the regulators to us so that we can concentrate more on high risk and possibly lesser on the risks which are not very significant to the organization as well as to the country. The use of RBA thus allows us to allocate the resources properly, be it human resources or be it even the systematic resources, in an effective manner so that we can understand the risk and kind of allocate those resources to those risks and eliminate them, which are primarily considered to be or constitute to be pretty high, and not concentrate much on those which are like very minimal risk as such. So that's the whole concept of risk-based approach. Now, the risk-based approach is a very essential parameters to be adopted by all the LFIs because of the reason that we do not have the leeway of endless resources or endless capital to be invested in financial crime, right? To fight financial crime, we have to be working smartly, and hence we have to allocate those resources which are essential to be allocated there, rather than allocate those areas where it is not very significant risk as such. So this, I think, from the regulator's perspective, has been a great boon to many of the LFIs. I'm not talking about the bigger ones, the exchange houses. I don't want to name anyone. However, even if you think about those medium size and the smaller exchange houses, where resources are very constrained as such. So it is very pertinent that RBA has to be deployed there properly and which is the case, I think, in the industry as such.
Wonderful. As you mentioned, resource-constrained exchange houses can leverage the risk-based approach. That was amazing. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any comments, any questions, please come back to us and we will be very, very happy to clarify. Thank you again for being on this podcast.